Part A, Domestic Economy. Chapter 1, Output of an Economy. What would we understand if we were told that today the largest economy in the world is the US? Surely, we would wonder about the parameter of such a land area, population, or output. In every economy, goods are being produced, that is, raw materials are being converted into finished goods, crops, forestry, livestock, steel, cement, cars, cycles, bread, etc. Similarly, services are also being rendered like banking, insurance, shipping, etc. All of these have a monetary value in the local currency like the USD in the US and the INR in India. Thus, output per se implies aggregation of the monetary value of all the goods and services produced in an economy in a given period, which may be a quarter, 3 months, half a year, 6 months, or a year, 12 months. In other words, output includes all goods and services exchanged for money. For example, a fisherman catching fish may use some of it for self-consumption and the remaining may be used for selling in the market. Thus, the monetary value of all the fishes would be considered under the concept of output. It sounds simple so far, but delving a little deeper into output may as well comprise intermediate goods like steel and cement, which in turn are inputs for other goods referred to as final goods. These final goods cannot be put to further use, except for use like cars, buildings, etc. If we were to include both the intermediate and final goods in our definition of output, then that would effectively mean counting the same thing twice and in the process inflating the output of an economy. For example, the production of wheat and its milling as flour results in the making of bread. Thus, for output purposes, only the monetary value of bread would be considered and not that of wheat and flour. Therefore, we can conclusively derive that the output should have only final goods to avoid double counting. But what about selling second-hand goods like a second-hand car? Should they be reflected in the output of an economy? The answer is no, as they have already been included once when manufactured and therefore do not amount to a fresh production. Thus, the output of an economy is the monetary value of the final goods and services in a given period. The production of goods and rendering of services are referred to as economic activities. But who are the producers of goods and services in an economy? They could either be individuals, small and petty businesses, private companies like the Tatas, Birlas, Reliance Industries, etc., or even government like the public sector companies ONGC, SAIL, etc., or even foreign companies like Nokia, Sony, Samsung, etc. If we were to take the monetary value of all the final goods and services produced within the geographic boundary of a country, irrespective of who the producer of the goods and services are, then it is called the domestic output of the economy. Thus, in the Indian context, the domestic output consists of the monetary value of all final goods and services produced rendered by individuals, the private sector, the public sector, and foreign companies. Having looked into who are the producers in an economy, let us look now at how the goods are produced. To produce goods, at first we need some place infrastructure where the goods can be produced. Thus, we would need to have some land or building, money as seed capital, to buy machines and raw materials, invest in marketing, arrange for transportation, etc., labor for production, and then a person whom we call the entrepreneur as the producer of goods. These are known as factors of production in an economy. Thus, in a production life cycle, each factor of production will have an associated cost, be it the seed capital for investment, rent for the place infrastructure, or for that matter the labor wages and salaries. As an entrepreneur, the profit that an entrepreneur gains at the end of the day are principally for the risk that he/she takes for production. It is important to note that profit is a cost for any economic activity, but then what is the cost is also income for factors of production. For example, rent is an income for land. Interest is the income for capital, wages and salaries are the income for workers and supervisors, and profit per se is the income for the risks taken by the entrepreneur. Let us illustrate this example further with numbers. Following are the details of a manufacturing company. Land, rent, 10,000 rupees. Labor, wages and salaries, 1,000 rupees. Capital, interest, 750 rupees. Entrepreneur, profit, 500 rupees. Total 12,250 rupees. In this example, the total cost, all costs included, to an entrepreneur is 12,250 rupees. What is the output? It is the same amount as 12,250 rupees. And what is the income of all the factors of production? It is again the same as 12,250 rupees. This means that output cost is income for factors of production. Thus, output and income are two sides of the same coin. Whether we say output or income, it implies the same thing. At times, the output is also referred to as the product of an economy, quantity multiplied by factor cost. Thus, domestic product and domestic income of an economy are the same. So far, we have discussed the domestic output product income, but what about the income of Indians staying abroad? For a more comprehensive analysis of the output, $1 is necessary to look beyond the geographic boundaries that would include the income of all Indian nationals irrespective of the country they currently reside. But if we include the income of Indian nationals outside the country, it will also be logical to deduct the income of foreign nationals residing in our country. This is also referred to as net factor income from abroad, NFID. Thus, domestic product plus income of Indians abroad, income of foreigners in India is equal to national product, or domestic product plus dash NFID is equal to national product. Net factor income from abroad can be positive or negative depending on which is more. Income of Indian nationals abroad or income of foreign nationals in India, that is, national product is less than the domestic product if the income of Indian nationals abroad is less than the income of foreigners in India and vice versa. An increased foreign currency denominated debt of a country or selling domestic assets to foreign entities would tend to reduce the national product, leaving the domestic product unchanged.